Hey guys, it's Elizabeth, Finding Elizabeth, and this is Monday, November 16th, 2015. I'm coming to you with my week 83 post-op vertical sleeve gastrectomy update. And I know it looks like I'm participating in Naked November, which I'm not, but I wanted to wear one of the shirts that I got from Patti and MK Collab, even though it's freezing outside, but you can't really see it, but it's like very cool. Anyway, maybe I'll take a picture in it. But I'm not really naked, even though that's what this sort of looks like. So, what's going on? How about some numbers? My starting weight in January of 2014 was 402 pounds. My weight at surgery on April 14th, 2014 was 360.6 pounds. My weight last week was 202.8 pounds, and my weight today was 200.4 pounds. I was really hoping to make it back to Wonderland. I did not. And I also got some startling news when I looked at my weight over the last month, but let's get to that in a minute. So since starting this process at my highest weight in January 2014, I have lost 201.6 pounds. Since surgery, I have lost 160.2 pounds, and since last week, I lost 2.4 pounds, which I think is pretty good. In the last 12 months, I've started tracking I think I say this every time, but I've started tracking the last 12 months and last month because I just want to see how my progress is going. So in the last 12 months, I've lost 51 pounds, which is awesome. But in the last 4 weeks, for the first time since surgery, I had a 0.6 pound gain. So that is definitely not good, and kind of shook me up a little bit. I was, traveling extensively during that time, and right before when I got to like Wonderland 199, I had like a big loss after I came back from London, and then I went on like a zillion more trips after that. So it is what it is, but I do not like that. I do not like that I gained weight since last month, but something to be aware of. But something is shifting in my body, most definitely. I am feeling like I bought a new pair of size 12 pants that were pretty tight when before I left for one of those trips, and I'm wearing them today, and they're really kind of loose, which is interesting. And then also I was at an event on one night last week, and it's an event for work that we do every quarter. So these people, for the most part, have seen me every 3 months, for the last several years. This was the first time ever that any one of our guests asked me if I had lost weight. 200 pounds. And this was the first time that they asked. And I think part of that is it's just really showing in my face a lot more. But anyway, that was interesting. So what's going on this week? Last week I said that I was going to do the Betty Lou Who goal sheet with Amy for 4 weeks, and I did it for 2 days, and then I didn't do it anymore. So big fail on my part, starting it again. I don't like that for the last 2 weeks. I have not kept my promises to myself because I think that's one of the most important things we can do. So Betty Lou Who sheet, 4 weeks, I'm on it. And just for the record, Amy did hers. I didn't do mine. So anyway. But I did okay, obviously. I mean, I lost weight. I lost 2.4 pounds, which at this point is pretty good. So, but anyway, onward and upward with that. So what do I want to talk about this week? Let me remind myself of that. Okay, so I went back to therapy last week for the first time in a long time. And I've said this on past videos, but I'm just going to repeat it in case everybody doesn't remember my whole life story, or maybe they're starting watching here. But I actually was in psychoanalysis for a year. Psychoanalysis meant going 4 days a week for an hour a day to therapy. It sucked. I did it for a year. I had made a commitment to this person who was getting their PsyD to become a psychoanalyst. I got a very discounted rate at therapy because I could commit to being their case study that they were supervised on. And it was really, really difficult. But I came out of it with a couple things. One was that I don't think I ever would have even had surgery if I hadn't done that process, because I went from going into that thinking, I remember having a conversation with my therapist where I was like, sometimes people will say, oh, I'm a good person. And I was like, how do you even believe that? How do you know that? How do these people just know that they're a good person? So I went into it not thinking I was a good person, a good mother, a good daughter, a good friend, a good spouse, a good whatever. And I came out of it with a very different perspective, and some insights on myself that I think ultimately, even though it was probably 2 years later that I had weight loss surgery, that led to me having surgery and believing that I deserved this. So, but I'd slacked off. I'd started going once a month. But I think I may be going, even though I said it wasn't going to happen or it hadn't happened, I think I may be going through that emotional crisis weight loss surgery time. I just sort of feel like I am not balancing things very well and have been beating myself up about that a lot. And also, whenever relationships with men have been a big issue for me psychologically. And so I think as I'm starting to go down that road, that having therapy is not a bad thing, beefing it up. So I'm going to start going back at least once a week. Personally, I don't think that after going 4 days a week, I don't think once a week is enough to really affect change. I think you need to go at least twice a week. But that's all I can afford right now because my son also decided to go back to therapy at the same time, of course, but good for him. So one of the things that my therapist said, because I said, I feel like I'm, not making the best decisions. I'm not being able to balance my life appropriately between social activities and work activities, and throwing in all this travel that's for work has added to it. And because I have multiple clients and that travel was predominantly for one client, I don't know. I'm just feeling like I'm slacking. So my therapist said something that actually helped a lot, which was cut yourself some slack. You have never, you have never had a social life like this, and you need to cut yourself some slack to enjoy it. And yes, you need to find balance, but you also need to enjoy this, and you deserve to enjoy it. So that was good. Made me stop beating up on myself a little bit, just a little bit. But the other thing we talked about is one of the things that's been part of my, psychological makeup and background always has been feeling like I'm not a part of something, feeling like it's always me on my own not against necessarily everybody else, but it's just like I'm a loner. It's me alone, doing whatever it is that I have to do. And I really got a little verklempt in therapy when she pointed out to me that it doesn't sound like that's the case anymore in my life. And it so is not the case anymore in my life. I posted it in my gratitude post yesterday, and I highlighted the women, but the men of the weight loss surgery community too. I just feel like I've made such incredible friendships through this process and feel so loved and supported, and have a group of people that I can be really honest with, and they don't judge me, or if they do, they don't tell me that they're judging me. So, and it's really an amazing feeling to not be alone anymore. And then it popped up again yesterday for me. So I just wanted to talk about that. Because, at this point, the what are you eating and exercising and blah, blah, is pretty much the same as it's always been. So I guess I'm focusing more on some of this psychological growth or observations. So I was in a fashion show yesterday, and I had not really asked anybody to come. Patti had said that she was going to come. And so middle of last week, I was like, oh, you know what, Patti, I really don't think you should do this. It's on a Sunday. It's in LA. It's, far from where we live. She's a realtor, so the weekends are work time for her. I didn't know what was actually going to be involved in it. It wasn't a fashion show like the one she was in that was a big deal. So multiple times I had said, I really don't think you need to come. And I called her on Saturday and I left a message saying, I really don't think you need to come. And then she texted me Sunday morning when I was on my way, asking me what time she should be there. And I texted her back and said, I really don't think you need to come. Well, she showed up anyway, thank God, because it was really boring. But, and I didn't even quite realize what I was doing. At so many important moments in my life, I've sort of said to people, oh, no, it's fine. You don't need to be there. It's not a big deal. I don't know that this in itself was that big of a moment. I mean, I guess it was that I was doing this, but I'm so used to experiencing everything on my own. And when I walked down the runway, see, I'm going to get vertical. I'm talking about it again. I actually cried yesterday. And I saw Patti standing there and taking pictures and just being there for me. When I was done and I was standing in the line waiting to come back around, it just really choked me up because it was just like I don't know if you call it a watershed moment or whatever. It was a realization to me that I do need other people, and that I was so appreciative for her for doing that and for not listening to me, and that, here's a person who knows me well enough to know that I'm full of shit when I'm saying don't come and support me. And it just really, I don't know, it just really touched me, one, that she was there, and also it just sort of opened me up when I realized how important it was for me not to be alone anymore. So anyway, just wanted to mention that. And then I wanted to just shout out and recognize a couple of people in the YouTube, Facebook land who are either newbies or don't make videos, who we might not, we might not know as much about as people who we interact with or who make videos, so we feel like we have an insight into their lives. So one of them was someone that I met on Saturday, Suzanne RNY Diaz, who I hadn't really noticed or chatted with or anything, and she sent me a message like a week or so ago saying that she was going to be in Huntington Beach celebrating her anniversary, staying at the Hyatt, and was I able to get together. So because I needed to work out, and she wanted to do it in the morning before her husband got up, I said, yeah, sure, I can meet you at 6:30. So went and met her, and she was so delightful. Number one, she doesn't look like she ever had surgery. She just celebrated her surgery anniversary, so I want to give her a shout out. She looked amazing. And it was just so wonderful to meet her and talk to her and hear about her story. And she brought me these beautiful earrings, which I meant to put on before I did this video, and I forgot, so I'll do that next week. And I don't know, it just reminded me that there's all these people out there who are watching and supporting you, even that you don't even know. So I'm going to put her Facebook page below, so you guys friend her on Facebook and support her in her journey. I know it's a lot tougher when people don't make videos to kind of get a good sense of them, but she was absolutely delightful, and I so enjoyed meeting her, and I hope and she lives relatively nearby, but I hope to be able to see her again for lunch in December. And then there were two other YouTube comments that I got this week from people that I didn't know. One was RNY Jody, and she put a comment on my week 3 video. And what stood out, and she's pre-op, what stood out to me was when she said she had watched The Naked Truth 3 times before she realized that I was the same person that was in the videos that she was watching. And that was another aha moment, because I was like, yeah, I don't recognize that person either. It seems like it is a totally different person. I have so much I still want to talk about, and I'm already at 14 minutes. Anyway, the other person was Yvette, who is also pre-op. She just made some videos, so I'm going to find her channel and link to that below also. But she just left me a really sweet comment that really moved me. So anyway, wanted to shout out those girls. Wanted to give a really quick, is that 14 minutes? Oh, yes, it is. Okay, really quick dating update around a particular topic that's weight loss surgery related. So, I met someone last week who I had been, chatting with, talking with for a while, but had not actually met in person. And as we were getting ready to meet in person, I got really anxious because, my necklace is on backwards, because you know, I'd sent him pictures of me, but they were very flattering pictures and very flattering angles. And I felt like I need to tell you that I don't, that I don't know, that they're flattering pictures, that I've lost a lot of weight. I didn't immediately go into the weight loss surgery story because I've started holding that back a little bit. But I felt like I needed to tell him that, you know, I didn't look exactly like I had before. Or not like I had ever. I look probably better now than I have ever, but I didn't look like maybe what he was going to be expecting. So he was really, really wonderful about it. I had sent him a text just saying, I need to tell you something before we meet. And he's like, what? And I said, well, you know, I've lost a lot of weight and I work out a lot, but I look like I've lost a lot of weight. And he was really super wonderful in how he responded to that. So, I don't know. I don't even know why I'm sharing this, but I'm not going to redo the whole video not to share it again. So I don't know what my point was, but it was just like that. All of a sudden I started worrying about it. I started worrying about the loose skin. I started when I never did before. But I also reached out to someone in the community who I know has been going through something similarly recently for her feedback, and it was so important and made me feel so much better. And you know who you are, so thank you for responding to me so quickly and taking the time to. It meant a lot, and it gave me more confidence going into the situation, and it was great. It was an awesome time. I like him. I'll see him again, whatever. But it was just that whole thing, that whole process was interesting for me to have that discussion and to know. I mean, I like the feeling in the pit of my stomach when I sent that text was like, because I had, you know, I had felt like some chemistry and attraction with this guy, and I was looking forward to meeting him, and I didn't want him to say, oh, gross. So anyway, that's good. Other thing is, I'm having a plastics consult with Dr. Katzen on Thursday, so we'll let you guys know how that goes. I had thought that Patti had an appointment right before me, so I was going to ask her to videotape my consult. She actually doesn't now, and it's pretty far away from here. So we'll see about how maybe we can videotape some of that, and so I can share it with you guys. So I think that's all I have. Shout outs. I shouted out Susanna RNY Diaz already for her surgiversary. Walter already also had his surgiversary. Dennis Finney had like a million great things happen to him last week. He had his surgiversary. He hit goal. He adopted his 2 sons. And I mean, he is looking freaking incredible. So anyway, I love you guys. Thank you for the first time ever making me feel like I'm not alone. All right, I'll talk to you next week. Bye-bye.